Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up or leaving a comment because it does help with the algorithm. And without further, yes, that one. So the issue is there's so much news happening right now. There's an immense amount of news and I like making videos. I like interacting with everyone. So I was like, should I make another video? And then I was like, yeah, you should make another video. So here I am making another video. The price of Bitcoin touched a new all-time high. It says at 3:12 a.m. Okay, during the early morning trading sessions reaching 28,600 US dollars. The crypto assets market valuation is over $519 billion on Wednesday, as Bitcoin markets command over $14 billion in global trade volume. Bitcoin markets soared again on Wednesday morning as the price per Bitcoin jumped to $28,600. Bitcoin's dominance in comparison to the 7,500 other coins, my gosh, is over 70%. 7,500 is over 70%, or 519 billion out of the cryptocurrencies market, $741 billion. Yep, we did it again. Woo! I could have told you this was definitely going to happen. Bitcoin has reached another new all-time high. It looks like we were talking about this literally a couple of hours ago, that Bitcoin appears to be trying to aim towards $30,000 either today or tomorrow, midnight. I don't think the timing really even matters anymore, but we keep hitting new all-time highs. It's like every other day that we keep doing it. This one says right here, it says Bitcoin sellers are starting to disappear as analysts forecast major growth. So what we're seeing is that a lot of the sell orders on cryptocurrency exchanges just simply aren't there. I think a lot of smart people have maybe entered the market or have kind of, what's the little thing like when the light bulb goes off above your head, because people keep betting against Bitcoin's price and then Bitcoin's price keeps going higher. So the more people who are putting in buy orders as opposed to sell orders, Bitcoin's price continues to rise. If Bitcoin's price continues to rise, more people buy into the market because blah, 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 and it kind of continues on in this way. I think so I'll say it to you this way. A lot of the people I know who are investing in Bitcoin are not trying to sell it and or bet against it anytime in the near future. We are currently on the cusp of the time frame when we heard that Bitcoin was going to go to $40,000, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. So a lot of the people I know, once again, have no intention of selling any Bitcoin, because what if you are that person who misses out? It would not be a very good feeling. So yeah, Bitcoin's price hit a brand new all-time high. Absolutely incredible. I assume in about 12 days we'll have another new Bitcoin's like $30,400 or something like that. It's kind of cool that this is finally happening. You know, the frustration has kind of left the room because I got tired of seeing all this amazing news and the price was not really going anywhere. We've pulled back a tiny bit, but that's expected. That happens all the time. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin price news. And without further ado, let's move on. In really good news, Binance Pool, not that the other one wasn't really good news, but you get what I'm saying. Binance Pool, the mining pool run by one of crypto's biggest exchanges, is prepared to support Taproot, a good omen for the next major Bitcoin upgrade. The addition of Binance Pool to the yes column means that all the major pools are now on board. Taproot is a scaling and privacy change that will be the biggest upgrade the digital currency has received in years, and is far less controversial than SegWit, which created Bcash. According to crypto mining pool Poolin, VP Alejandro de la Torre, Binance Pool says it will support the Taproot upgrade, clearing up any ambiguity since the pool was the only one with over 10% of the network that hadn't said yes to the proposal. Binance Pool represents 11% of the Bitcoin mining hash rate, so its support pushes mining pool support up to about 91% of the hash rate. Wonderful. It's very rare that Bitcoin gets any type of upgrade. We know that Bitcoin's kind of slow, but the idea that crypto exchanges are now going to start supporting Lightning, or at least, the first couple iterations of it, and also Taproot as well. If we get Taproot activated, Mimble Wimble on Litecoin, And any indication that we're going to have Mimblewimble on top of Bitcoin sometime within the next 2 to 3 years, I already assume that within the next 5 years, Bitcoin is going to have completely private transactions. And once again, if Bitcoin, does indeed go past or even next to Plan B's number of where he believes it should be, which is still like 1/3 the price that JP Morgan said, we will be larger than the US dollar. Now, what happens to a worldwide currency that's stronger than the US dollar, that continues to gain rapid adoption because everyone sees the US dollar collapsing, but then it also has private transactions? How rapidly does the world change? So Taproot is not the end all to the privacy question, but it's more of a gigantic leap forward because there are many other proposals as well, and now they're finally being implemented. So I'm excitedly nervous as to exactly where this is all going to go. I myself can picture a world where, now keep this in mind, if Bitcoin goes from the 6th largest currency to the 1st largest currency, continues major adoption over the course of a 3-4 year period, we have another halving, Bitcoin's price continues to rise, and then we have private transactions completely. No one can tell where it's going from, where it's coming from, who has it, and whatnot. What does that do for other websites with KYC and AML? Like, literally, what happens to them? Anyway, that's the Taproot news. I saw this and was very excited. Any type of, any upgrade on Bitcoin is a good upgrade, but it's more like I'd like to see these things moving forward. Here's the actual tweet forward right here. It says, Binance responded with a yes for Taproot. It's going to be a wild decade, if you did not know this already. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, we had part of this news last week, but it was like not this. Miami Mayor Francisco Suarez says he's open to exploring whether the city would benefit from allocating a part of its treasury reserves into Bitcoin. You heard that correct. Suarez offered a straightforward response to a suggestion from Anthony Pompliano on Twitter, who urged his 429,000 followers, geez Louise, to tell the mayor he should move 1% of Miami's reserves into Bitcoin. He said, definitely open to exploring it. When asked whether Miami is also considering the possibility of accepting Bitcoin as a means for citizens to settle their bills, well, that'd be crazy with the city, the mayor said it is part of their plans for next year. We are definitely going to be working on that in okay, stop it. You know, the entire idea of the bit license was for people to be like, oh, regulation, New York, that sounds amazing. I'm definitely going to go and apply, and 6 years later receive a piece of paper that says I could have done something years ago in some other place, and it hasn't worked out too well for New York State. This is why every single time that a new coin gets added anywhere, it's like available everywhere except for New York. Can you imagine if Florida, already quite a popular place because of their great weather, and then Miami allocates any percent, even if it's 0.5% of their treasury into Bitcoin, and then also allow people to pay? It's just, this is the kind of intelligence that I really like to see in general. As a politician, you have to understand that things will continue to change. If you see this trend moving forward, like imagine if people are actually able to pay for any bill or even things in general within Miami, how much the city of Miami would then actually have in Bitcoin itself. Now imagine, let's say, Bitcoin gets adopted as a major worldwide currency, which we're currently on the path of seeing sometime next year, what have you, and states start to buy, but then they never actually have as much as Miami. And then Miami just simply lowers their taxes and makes sure that anybody who would have gone to New York or would have gone to California or would have gone to Texas simply goes to Florida. And Florida keeps on collecting that Bitcoin. Anyway, I find this quite nice, not only because of the Bitcoin adoption or the crypto adoption, what have you, but it's more like yes, please do it. By all means. If you, okay, I was going to say something. Okay, here we go. Sometimes funds held by governments are allocated to places where they should not be allocated to in the first place. And it just seems to make a lot more sense if they happen to figure out an appropriate number of things that they would have put money into, which usually goes nowhere, into their actual reserves. If we get news that Miami is holding Bitcoin and buying up more Bitcoin, let's say even if it's like $1 million per month, that would be a doozy. Here's the actual tweet right here. It said, definitely open to exploring it. And as you can imagine, a lot of people are quite excited about said news. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, Grayscale is in the news, but for another reason. Grayscale Investments, the world's largest digital asset manager, has reportedly dumped a significant portion of their XRP and their lumens. Data from Bybit, that is BYBT, a cryptocurrency future trading platform, revealed that Grayscale's XRP holdings declined by more than 9.18 million yesterday, bringing its total position to 26.45 million XRP, worth around $5.7 million at press time. On the same day, Grayscale reportedly liquidated over 9.7 million lumens, bringing its total holdings to 9.19 million lumens, or $1.27 million at press time. Grayscale's assets under management currently sit at $19.26 billion, with Bitcoin making up 87% of the total. Here's the actual link to Bybit, or whatever it's called, and for Grayscale's holdings. And here you can see they've actually gotten rid of a lot of other coins. I've been surprised for a while that they were holding on to Zcash at all. Governments don't like coins that have private transactions, and Zcash is definitely one of them. Same with Zen. Yeah, so we see this trend continuing. I just assume it's because, it's kind of in fashion right now to do this. But we will definitely... They have 607,000 Bitcoin. Oh my gosh, that's freaking crazy. So yeah, there was another crypto exchange that also, like an hour ago, for time for me making this video, had also delisted XRP. It wasn't the one that we spoke about earlier. It was Coinbase, Bitstamp, and I think OKCoin or something like that. There was another one. I promise you've never heard of it. It was like L2M14, something weird. But they also delisted it. Sure. Like I said, it seems to be the trend right now. But, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, without further ado, let's move on. Next up, Turkey will begin piloting a previously undisclosed digital currency in the second half of 2021. The country's chief central banker, Nasi Agbal, has revealed. Turkey's chief central banker, Nasi Agbal, told members of parliament Friday that the central bank will begin the pilot project of a previously undisclosed national digital currency in the second half of next year. Abgal's comments place Turkey on the fast track to a central bank digital currency. Turkey seldom discloses any digital currency ambitions. The Bank for International Settlements, known in monetary circles as the Bank for Central Banks, does not even record Turkey as having an active central bank digital currency project in its running database. None of these are going to work. I just want that to be abundantly clear to everyone. I'm not sure if you're new here. I'm not sure if you've been here for 3 or 4 years. The discussion and the comments that I would receive, usually the last 2 years when we started getting wind of what a CBDC was, a central bank digital currency, was if they're going to take over Bitcoin. If Bitcoin was obsolete because of central bank digital... No, the answer is no. It's basically just a digital form of fiat. And fiat is still garbage because it's based off of nothing. It has no set limit or supply. They just keep printing it over and over. So the issue is, and the idea is, if they continue doing this to paper money, they're probably, when you're able to hit a button, as you even are now in certain banks, quite rapidly to create more money, they're going to do so. The problem is for them is that we are going to continue to see the devaluation of these currencies next to Bitcoin, because that's how math works. As more money goes into Bitcoin and Bitcoin becomes scarcer, We're going to see the devaluations of fiat currencies next to Bitcoin, as we've been seeing for the last, 11 or 12 years, and that is not going to stop. The other problem is that central banks are usually garbage with their monetary policies. We know this. We've lived for quite a long amount of time, and we've seen inflation and all the other things tear economies apart. So when we get to the point where central bank digital currencies are really being pushed out, and I want to say forced onto people, there's going to come a time where there's a stock market crash, an economic crash, something bad is going to happen. And part of the problem is that even right now, today still, I know, there are countries around the world who are restricting their citizens from being able to take out money from their accounts. And this is with paper money. This is with actual physical paper money. You can't go to the ATM. You can't take it out. You're blocked from doing so and so. When do we actually get a huge, crazy economic catastrophe, what have you, and the government simply has to go into a room and hit a red button and everyone's accounts are frozen and no one can move money? That's when that country, the citizens, simply go, okay, now is the time for us to completely get into Bitcoin. It's a bit of the word isn't red flag. I don't even know what to call this event or what it would be. A bit of a shame, because they'll realize at that point that they should have gotten into Bitcoin a long time ago. It's going to happen. Governments right now already have these policies where they're stopping people from doing things you can't. Do you remember the fallout in 2008 and 2009 and people trying to go to the bank to get their money? And there were people with large pieces of metal that ejected other smaller pieces of metal from it. Those. Telling people that, no, you can't get your money out. Can you imagine? I don't ever want to imagine that. So this is why Bitcoin is going to take over and why Bitcoin is finding so much success. It's just a matter of Bitcoin permeating further into these lands, worlds, places where it is going to do or have the most benefit. It's why I always say, I love when we get news about anything in Africa, anything about South America, anything about parts of Asia where people are adopting crypto in mass or using Bitcoin or buying up fragments of Bitcoin or mining Bitcoin themselves. Because they will be the winners, because central bank digital currencies are all going to fail. Absolutely going to fail. Here's an actual list of Turkey's inflation rate. 11%, 12%, 12%, 11%. Oh, wow, 10%. They got pretty low there. We all aim for that 10% inflation rate, and 14%. So you need not to worry, because we can only assume that governments are probably not going to change their economic policies anytime soon. They have a hunger for being able to print as much money as they want whenever they want to patch up little things. But the problem is that they've printed so much now, and we can see the effects, the negative effects on economies around the world. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, here's a good one. The Central Bank of Russia said the development of digital currencies may challenge the SWIFT international banking payment system and could eventually. And first of all, for those of you who don't know what SWIFT is basically the payment system. When you're sending money around the world, you're using SWIFT. SWIFT is a messaging system that was invented in the 70s. 50 years ago, and people still use it. Can you imagine using a bed from 50 years ago? Can you imagine using a phone? Imagine you didn't have your mobile phone, but you had a brick. Imagine using the old cell phones from 1989, the really big, chunky ones. Doesn't make any sense. But it gets even better as I go further into the article. According to the Central Bank of Russia, the development of digital currencies may challenge the SWIFT international banking payment system and will eventually make it redundant, as reported by Russia Today. More than 30 financial regulators are currently working on their national digital currencies, according to the first deputy governor of the central bank. This person's name is Olga Skorobogatova. Olga Skorobogatova. Got it. Given the pace of digital currencies development, several countries may launch a new form of currencies over the next 5 to 7 years. Good. Please, by all means, take your time. The later you launch that, after Bitcoin has passed by a $5 trillion market cap, it just only gets better for us. For those of you who do not know, it says it right here as part of broader sanctions. Russia happens to be one of the countries who is always under sanctions by Big Brother, who tells them, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you did that a couple years ago, so we're going to stop you from doing this. We've had news for a while that there are a number of countries who have dipped their entire leg into the Bitcoin pool and have been actually trading Bitcoin between themselves for the last year or so. So I assume they're going to continue doing that, especially if when Bitcoin's price goes up to stronger than the US dollar, we're going to get countries announcing out loud, we've been using it. We're going to continue using it. And you basically can't stop us. So all the countries who are using SWIFT, they're going to switch to another system in a desperate attempt to try and make everything more digital. And the countries who aren't a part of SWIFT have hated SWIFT for a long time because they've been told by a small group of members, and usually there's one big person, you 13, 14, 15, 19 countries can't do that because we say so. Now imagine if there was something almost like a digital currency that allowed them to not have to, maybe one day we'll get it, but until then, I think I'll call it Bitcoin when I invent it. Anyway, of course SWIFT is going to be completely obsolete. It's just, it's a matter of years at this point. We are seeing the world's economy shift right before our eyes, and it's going to be a doozy. What's this one? And also, to finish things off, CME Group's recent announcement that it will launch Ether futures on the 8th of February, of course next year, is the writing on the wall that institutions will begin buying the cryptocurrency next year, according to a pair of tweets by Ryan Watkins, an analyst at Masari. Here are the little tweets right there. The price of the second largest cryptocurrency, top yada yada for the price numbers. So basically it's that right here. So they wouldn't launch an Ether product if there wasn't any demand for it. We've seen this before. We've had this many other times before where institutions come forward and they're like, I think we're going to start buying a Bitcoin. And I'm like, they're not buying it randomly. That's because they're getting thousands of emails all the time. People are like, I have $38 million to put into something. Help me move my money around. So I mean, we know that futures aren't the greatest thing in the entire world, but it does show institutional interest and the price is going to go up and more people will start getting into it. I mean, Ethereum has been doing incredibly well. We were at, was it $300, $400 just a couple of weeks ago? And now we are $700 and some change. I think we just need to pass by that $1,000 number just to really get it over with, just so we can start seeing Ethereum really rocket. I'm still, my personal numbers, I was previously aiming for a $4,000 Ether. And that was a conservative 4x from the previous all-time high that we had. I'm thinking 8,000 is probably going to be more realistic. The craziest one I've seen was 30,000. Stepping away from that one, we'll see what ends up happening. Anyway, that's the Ethereum news, if you will, for next year. It just logically makes a lot of sense. And let's move on. I don't have my phone. Don't judge me. Stop the judgments. Stuffs. At the moment, the market looks like it's out of its mind. It does not know where it's going to go. A lot of the altcoins, the Satoshi prices are in red, as I assume Bitcoin is trying to continue its trajectory higher. It is up by 6.72%. It is currently at $28,274 US. XRP is down. It makes a lot of sense. I'm telling you, man, 10 cents. I'm telling you, it just has to happen. If XRP is this resilient, I don't even know what to really say in English, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense that it hasn't really actually fallen and then kind of moved itself back up. Polkadot is up by 12% because, Polkadot gotta catch them all. Yeah, nothing too dramatically crazy within the market. All eyes are once again on Bitcoin. Bitcoin just has to move higher. The rest of the market will move higher. But it is quite fascinating how far we've come price-wise. This is nuts. To think at the beginning of the year where we were, even in March. It's been a long journey. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See